And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Adventureland is one of my favorite games. Really like this game, so I was really excited when I got Adventureland King and Princess. This is the expansion for Adventureland. Adventureland is a game in which players are moving around on a grid trying to fight fog monsters, collect things. Oh, I just really like the game, and I keep telling people this is an amazing game. You really got to try it out. So in the base game, it came with 3 scenarios that you could play, and each one essentially is a different way to play the game. I like that. I could just play the same scenario over and over and over again. So it's like 3 ways to play the game. Well, this one really turns it on its head, because one of these even includes a cooperative game. Let's take a look. So there are 3 new adventures included here, and the first one is Kidnap of the Princess. And so the way this works is you're going to have to fight a giant. The giant has a strength, basically depending on the number of players in the game, although you can make him harder if you want to. And they're also going to have the princess. Now the princess is going to be held by the giant. You're going to pull a card that the princess is at. So this card here is at F7. So you got to figure out where the princess is, and you're going to be doing that by getting keys. So you have a bunch of tokens included, and these tokens in the back of them show number of players. So let's pretend this is a 3-player game. I would take these tokens here for the 3 players and put 1 in each city, and it will tell you where to put the different tokens. For example, this yellow token would go here, the red token would go over here, the blue token up here, this token down here, and the green token here. Now those tokens are just anywhere in that city, and that means you will get a key of that city. If I move someone there, I now have 1 person in this city, so I now get the green key. All right, and there are a pile of keys for the different colors. So to get down here, to get the red key, you need 7 people, although that can include companions. So if I'm down here and I have, for example, 3 companions, that's 4. And then if I move someone else into that city with 3 companions, then I would get the red key for that city. You can also spend 2 gold to get a key, so going to the river to get gold is more important. Once you get all 5 keys, you're able to figure out, see the card where the princess is. You then need to get to that spot, and you will fight the giant. However, before you do that, you're also going to need to kill a certain number of fog creatures. You need to get a certain number of victory points. The number of victory points you need is going to depend on the number of players in the game. So, for example, it tells you on the sheet here, if you're playing with 3 players, you need 10 victory points worth of monsters. So if I kill these 2, the 7 and 4, I'm fine. When you fight the big giant, these victory points that you have, the fog monsters you defeated, will be added to your score, as well as swords and herbs and, you know, the companions you have and dice and things like that. If you defeat the giant, you win. If no one defeats the giant, then nobody wins. Scenario 5 is going to be using super fog monsters instead of the regular fog monsters. These are much more difficult monsters. And this is a cooperative game. So it's possible in this game for multiple people to be together in a troop, and you can move them together and fight together. And in fact, you also have these super followers. You can replace 5 of the regular followers with 1 of these. It's just a way to have more of these in a game and get together. You also get an extra die because you can now use 4 swords in a combat. And that's it. You basically are going to try to kill the fog creatures. The fog creatures will, they start on the board already, and when you get them, they're going to be moving and trying to go into the cities. So if you defeat all the fog creatures, you win. If you run through the deck, you all lose together or not. In the final scenario, it is a competitive one, but in this one, there's a pretty big change to the game. The cards are out of the game. And in fact, everything starts on the board. I'm not going to set that all up right now, but there will be a companion in every city. There will be herbs out. The swords will be out. Everything is already on the board. Now, the fog monster, one of the fog monsters, as soon as you get a fog monster of strength 8, the king is going to be on that fog monster, and you're going to be trying to free the king. So you're going to be moving around like normal, but everything is there. You're going to, again, have these super companions because it's pretty easy to get the companions out there at a certain time. you're trying to get to the capital city, you can go somewhere else where there's people and you can fight them. You basically, if you're stronger, you can kick somebody out. At the end of the game, if you're in K10, you're going to get bonus points. If you free the king, you're going to get 5 points. And the fog creatures are face down at the beginning, so when you land on them, you'll reveal what kind of creature it is. And the first time you find an 8, that's when the king shows up. And that's basically it. The biggest change, essentially, is the scoring, because the scoring is going to be there's going to be extra points for killing the most fog creatures, extra points for having the most people in the city, extra points for having the most gold, and you get 7 points for having each of those, or 3 and 1 for second and third. And also, again, being here and rescuing the king. Most points is the winner. Now, this is one of those times where more is good, right? Because when I play Adventureland, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to pick a scenario. I now have 6 scenarios to pick from. I can play cooperatively, and the cooperative game here is fine, although I actually like playing this competitive more. So if I want to play cooperatively, that's in the box. If you like this concept and you like playing cooperatively, there's a set. I think the first one the best. It just has a very straightforward, go get the keys, you collect the keys, and then go fight the giant. And it's basically a race game. The first person to get all the stuff done, to get the keys, defeat a certain number of fog monsters, and so you're running around trying to race each other. And I like that. It's a good feel to the game. Everyone's hurrying as fast as they can. You got to be careful about moving your people. There's always that, hasn't happened, but there's always the chance that the giant is on A1. Now, if that happens, and you haven't left the guy at A1, you can't even get to him. So you got to be careful to leave some guys near the top in case the giant's up in that corner, you can get over him. So I like that. It's a fun, interesting way. And I played that scenario with people who've never played Adventureland before. So it's an easy one to jump into. The last one's weird. I like it, but I would only play with it once in a while because it changes the whole game on its head. It gets rid of the cards, which is part of the fun of the game, was have things randomly pop up. Here, everything's out there. So this game's really thinky. You're sitting there going, all right, so I can move here, and you're like slowly moving down because you're just mining everything. And you're trying to get to the king with a fog monster, but you want to get a big group of companions. You want swords and things. It's just a really kind of a fascinating, it just plays so differently than the others. And that's kind of interesting about this expansion, because we have the co-op game and then that game where all the stuff's on the board. Those games are so different. Number 4, which is my favorite, is very similar to the original 3 scenarios. It's different than they are, but the 5th and 6th scenarios just really turn the game on its head. And that makes this a good expansion. It gives you 3 really different experiences. Everything fits in the base box. I now have 6 scenarios to play with this wonderful, lovely game. Highly recommend it from me. Definitely want to check this one out. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.